Previously on Clone Wars Comm Chatter.
The hidden enemy.
Declaration.
I'm amazing!
Assessment.
He's a manipulative tiny green turd.
Whoa!
Violence.
Man, you just broke that guy's leg.
Excitement.
Skrunk. Oh, I got a shiny!
And now the conclusion.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we'll move on to The New Padawan. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with that episode name, that is the name of the episode produced to be the introduction to the film. It was produced as part of the first season, after Lucas changed his mind about not wanting to show the origin of how they met Ahsoka and other characters. So they ended up using that, and that helped kind of pad the other 3 episodes in the film out to a more closer to a feature-length film. And they added some more extra scenes into to bridge them and stuff. But for the most part, you can kind of take the first 28 minutes of the film as being that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's called The New Padawan. They even put a little kid book out by the adapting it with that name under.
Okay.
And like I said, this is where breaking down the 2 studios is difficult because they both kind of contributed to it. But yeah, basically you would go until you see Obi-Wan take off in his Jedi Starfighter off of Christophsis. So that would be sort of like your breaking point where this episode would end, and the rest of the episodes that we'll go over next time will begin. This episode, we have the continuation of what began retroactively in The Hidden Enemy, with now the clones' defenses being reduced to very little in terms of hardware, and Ventress having the droids march on the Republic while she takes off to take care of her future mission, and with Loathsome leading the droids. And then we have Ahsoka show up later on, and Anakin getting a Padawan, which was a really big deal.
It's a little baby.
It's a little big deal, and we'll talk about that. And we get to see a bunch of droids. We get the B2 Super Battle Droid first time from Attack of the Clones, but we get to see them. I think he even talks in this one too. I think.
Yeah.
So I think that was the first time we heard them before Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
We get to see Count Dooku / Darth Tyrannus.
Yes.
Voiced by, well, here it's actually voiced by Christopher Lee himself.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
For the theatrical film, they actually did get Christopher Lee
Anyway.
and Mace Windu to voice Mace Windu.
Yes.
Samuel L. Jackson to voice Mace Windu.
I was complaining about his voice because it sounded like he really phoned it in, and then Justin was like, "No, that's Samuel L. Jackson." I'm like,
Don't anger Samuel. Sam, if you're watching, she said that, not me. She said that.
well, it seemed very dry for him because there was so much
He was
emotion.
only there for like a minute.
Look, just show up to the studio for 10 minutes. We have like 4 lines. Just come. So that's what it sounded like. And I was really surprised to hear that, oh no, Samuel L. Jackson showed up for that. I was not surprised to hear that Christopher Lee was Dooku himself, because that just, he had the presence.
But Sam, again, I'm on your side. However,
You think I'm popular enough that he gives a crap what I say?
well, actually, however, if you want to call me a mother, I will take it.
Hey, I'm the one that insulted you.
No, don't listen to her. Don't listen to her. I'll take it. I need a ringtone. No. No, but I think Sam. I think he's really game for playing his character.
Well,
when he gets a chance.
Well,
he's definitely.
He requested his own lightsaber for Attack of the Clones, his own color lightsaber.
I would hope so. It just maybe the lines they gave him or the direction, it just seemed very dry.
Yeah, and he showed up for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Nick Fury a couple times as well. So I think he likes playing his characters, whatever. So it's cool that he had that continuity.
I would do the
It's
same.
weird though, because once you get used to the other gentleman who voices
Yes.
him. Actually, I don't know if we don't have Mace Windu in this one, but we'll get to him later. But it's the other actor who plays him in the rest of the series does a good job too, and I'm so used to that. So now when I hear Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu, when I hear Mace Windu as Mace Windu, it's a little weird. I'm used to hearing an actor as Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Likewise, Christopher Lee and Corey Burton are pretty close in that really deep.
Are
They're really
pretty close.
They're really close. I mean, there's certain nuances I think Christopher Lee brings, but I like there's a little bit more stylization to Corey Burton, I think.
Yes.
Slightly so, but it works out so well either way. So it's kind of a win-win situation.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it's cool we got to have him play the character one more time as well.
Oh,
so.
absolutely.
R4, which is the droid in Obi-Wan's fighter. He's returning from Attack of the Clones as well, I believe. We get to see the droidica for the first time as well. Starring role here for General Worm Loathsome.
Love him.
These names.
He's a Kirkoidian. Is it a Kirkoiden? Koiden, yeah. Kirkoiden. Kirkoiden. I'll get it right eventually. So, first time out loud is always different than reading it, man. I've read it 1,000 times. I never actually had to say it out loud. Also voiced by Corey Burton. And Loathsome's got a little bit of a Scottish
Scottish
thing going there. You got a slightly evil Sean Connery, a little bit. Not really Sean Connery, but
yeah, it definitely has that kind
I think anything Scottish, you're either gonna think of Sean Connery or Fat Bastard.
Yeah, I mean that's fair too.
And it's everything else in the world is really in the nuances in between,
Yeah.
or the extremes of real language, dialects and stuff. And we get to see a little bit of Jabba the Hutt in some of the cross storylines. He sounded okay, I think.
Yeah.
I'm always picky with Jabba's voice because it very rarely sounds like the one from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
and that was the one I grew.
with
Like,
that.
so you grew with it so much, and then the one in Phantom Menace didn't sound right at all.
No,
Special edition didn't sound that.
no,
Oh,
it was.
yeah.
It was
This one's a little closer, at least.
I liked that it was in another language because I'd sort of expected, by now, some other alien would have another language, either like subbed or someone playing as translator. And I just liked that. I was happy to see it happen. I wish it had happened sooner.
Okay. Well, we're only 3 episodes in, so
yeah, sooner.
one story arc. Patience. We get to see. Mace Windu isn't here. Terrence Carson is the other voice actor for Mace Windu.
Okay.
We have Yoda here, played by Tom Kane, who does his own version of Yoda. It's not exactly like Frank Oz, but I think
It's very good though.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't, I didn't mind it at all.
Like I said, that I have no complaints about it. I think Tom Kane does a great job with it. I mean, it's nice to have different versions of the character. I mean, even you go back to Matt Lanter as Anakin, he's not sounding like Christian Haydenson. He's doing his own version of it, which still feels like...
Wait.
Yep.
Did I get it wrong?
Yep.
Hayden Christensen! Holy crap!
I just... Thank you. Thank you. We're not cutting
You
that.
drink, apparently.
We're not cutting that. It took me a second. I was like,
Just process.
wait. Coruscant does not compute.
You know what's weird? Is that I said it, I got it right, but that sounds wrong. I got all the syllables out, right? Yes, they're just in the wrong order is all it is. And it's bad, too, because they only announced, last week or whatever that he's going to be at Celebration 9.
Exactly.
So I should remember that.
my
I'm
stomach.
sorry, Hayden.
My stomach hurts. Yeah, alright, you're assuming a lot. You're assuming that Samuel L. Jackson is watching this. You're assuming that Hayden Christensen...
Oh, no. Samuel Jackson's definitely going to watch this, and he's going to call up Hayden Christensen.
100%.
And he's like, dude, you got to watch this. They talked about you.
They talked about
On
you,
the
but
internet.
That's their name wrong.
These guys on the internet, they talked about you, man. You've got to watch this video, and it's going to go all the way around.
Yep. 100%.
At some point, Pablo's going to hear about it, and he'll be like, ugh.
Hi, Pablo. I saw you at Celebration 7. It was an experience. He was on a stage, 200 feet away from me. It's the closest I ever got.
Well, you can have life goals. You can get 100, you can
Yeah.
get
100 feet next
100 feet
time.
next time, yeah. We got to see the LEP servant droid, which is the rabbit droid.
Yes!
These little things, cute little bobbly things.
LEP?
LEP. Lepi.
Yeah, I get it.
Are you
Haha,
serious?
Latin jokes. Yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're
They're not above that.
No, not at all.
Star Wars.
No,
Not at all.
They
It's Star
named the
Wars.
tarantula Tranch. They're not above anything.
You might not have noticed it because it was very subtle, but loathsome. It sounds like loathsome.
What?
Yeah.
I would have guessed.
Yeah, I have it right here. And his first name is Worm.
Worm loathsome?
Yeah, I know.
That doesn't sound
amazing.
right at all.
I know it doesn't. Now you think about it, it doesn't sound right, right?
Oh my god.
But you don't notice it the first
Star
time because
Wars.
it's so subtle.
I hate both of
He was
you.
great. He was great.
We also get Supreme Chancellor Sheev Palpatine.
No, he
okay. Let Quinn go off on this for
I
a
went
second.
off on this. He dresses like his first name is Sheev.
Puppy sleeve.
Sleeve Sheev. I couldn't take anything
Oh,
about
we
him
were joking about it when we
seriously.
were watching it, just going, this is Sheev Palpatine.
I know he is a very dangerous man, but boy, you need to not dress like
I think
Sheev.
Jay, aka Admiral Jello, out there will take point against you with questioning high Coruscanti fashion.
I think a lot of people are going to tell me I'm wrong about a lot of things, and that's fine. But he needs to not dress like puppies.
They're a flotation device, okay? He can't swim.
You never know.
He doesn't tell anyone because then his apprentice is gonna just push him off into the pool.
He'll just go,
Hey, I mean, he does end up falling.
Yeah.
But
That's what he exploded out of. The pool on the Death Star.
The pool on the
He couldn't have fallen
I-
into the core. He didn't have enough time.
I just had.
It was like the 20th floor pool
That's
or
exactly-
spa or something. Like
I saw his puffy sleeves and I just remembered his first name. And I can give no greater insult to a character's fashion choices than, oh right, your name is she.
it makes sense though, because like anger fuels the dark side. So he wears it all day because he knows people are going to talk about it and like make fun of him.
Make fun of him.
So in the back of his mind, he's like,
I'm so happy.
dark side.
I'm so happy I can fuel Sheev's power.
Yes.
Oh god.
You're welcome.
You are the reason he is able to bring disbalance to the Force.
Yeah. Specifically you right now.
You specifically. Now,
I am.
it travels back in time a long time ago, across
also
space,
to a galaxy far,
to
far
a galaxy
away.
far, far away. Sheev picks up on that vibe, and he's like, "What's this lady? What's up with this
Damn it,
lady?
Corinne.
What's up with this
Making
lady?
an
What
internet
is up
video
with this
about
lady?"
this.
And then we had TC-70, Jabba's protocol droid, with
The translator.
who's voiced by the same character who does, actor Nika Fetterman, who does Ventress.
Okay.
TC-70 is
They hired 2 female voice
yeah,
actors.
yeah.
And the only reason I'm saying this is that's exactly what Zach did,
Yeah. No, well,
and that's why I had to play 3 parts in a
no,
radio
I think they
drama.
have three female voice actors.
The actress who plays Padme,
Yeah.
Ahsoka,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Nika,
still exactly what Jack.
and they do bring in a
said.
couple smaller ones for characters you'll see come in later on.
Later on. That's what
Like
I
they're more supporting characters and stuff, but there are a few that do recur.
Okay.
But for main core cast, yeah, 3.
Three.
Sounds about right. Which brings us actually to Ahsoka herself, who Ahsoka Tano, Togruta. She was obviously, her introduction was very controversial because like Anakin doesn't have a Padawan. He didn't have a Padawan in
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith, and it's a kid, and it was very controversial at the time. I think, and also you see her with her kind of nicknames here,
Sure.
which was a shtick that came from Lucas, but I think maybe made her a little less appealing to some people initially in some cases.
I could see that.
And hopefully you'll see as you progress through the show, like the character really wins you over, I think. And going back to the beginning of his origins, having that familiarity from my perspective, there's points where her music kicks in and it's like, oh my god, it's breaking my heart. It's like just very, very, very impactful in that regards. What were your takeaways from just kind of as an introduction to the character?
I liked that she walked in with a giant set of cojones. Like she was, I'm gonna be a Padawan. Boom. So I liked that.
I technically outrank you.
Yeah, like she's just coming in here trying to see
Yeah, that's right.
everything she can get away with, which I thought was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a teenager.
I thought that her and Anakin are gonna end up getting along like a house on fire. Like they will get along great, but they will burn everything to the ground. And she is exactly like Anakin was, and it's just, dude. Now you know how Obi-Wan feels.
It's like
No, I told you to do the other thing. Yeah, and this worked. Ooh.
It's like it's almost like that that Dark Knight meme moment where it's like, so that's what that feels like.
Yep.
Except I don't know if Anakin is entirely self-aware enough to realize that this is exactly the same stuff that he put Obi-Wan through. Like, it's not quite gotten there yet.
Obi-Wan realizes it.
Oh, Obi-Wan's sitting back and laughing.
Obi-Wan and Yoda, they're hoping that Anakin sees some of himself in Ahsoka. Like
Boy, 'cause he should.
Yeah, they think that like the combination of like him being proud of her being overzealous and that like with her tactics involving risk, that she earns credibility through that. That's what makes things work. And then I think that's what they're hoping the connection ends up being. I think they do a good job of like just finding that the balance of their personalities though. Like they're obviously very similar, but they're also different.
Yes,
And they
absolutely.
complement each other very well. I mean, there was like an observation where it's like
You could have had me killed, but I didn't.
like after the shields go down, like Ahsoka, like it's almost like she feels like she might have gone too far at times.
Yes.
And like she thinks she's worried that might have screwed things up, and that's why she's worried that she's not going to end up being his Padawan
Yeah.
and stuff. But that's also like what brought her success in the first place. So it's sort of like
Absolutely.
seeing that, like it's almost like I don't want to say the theme that there is necessarily believing in herself, but like it is kind of showing that like that is the quality that makes her like an ideal candidate in that regards. And of course, you get towards the end there where you have Yoda and Obi-Wan talking, where it's like, ready he is to cheat an apprentice, to let go of his pupil, a greater challenge it will be. Master this, Skywalker must. It's obviously that Yoda has already pinpointed, I think, Anakin's great flaw
Yes.
of not being able to let go
Yes.
of emotional attachments like that.
Mhm.
And then wondering if
I
that
thought
made...
that was also a minor dig at Obi-Wan. Like, hey, you gotta let your kid go. That's a big lesson.
Well, I'm wondering also if how much Obi-Wan's aware. I mean, I'm sure Obi-Wan's aware of it because they have to be close, but like, I think Yoda's being more proactive in that. But I think Obi-Wan being possibly involved in this scheme to give Anakin a
Yes.
Padawan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The two of them are sort of conspiring to try.
I would
and-
100% believe that.
Because
Well, and I like the touch of, after this, you see Obi-Wan on some, like, incoming messages.
yeah,
That's it. They're pretty separate until...
yeah, they aren't always on the same campaign,
Yeah.
or they're doing like different aspects of the same
Yes.
Yeah.
campaign.
Yep.
I'm thinking back to also to like Attack of the Clones, where Yoda is meditating, and that's when he senses Anakin going on his rampage against the Tuskens
Yep.
when like his mom has died. And I don't know if he necessarily knows that he's out there killing people, but he knows he's like in great pain.
Yeah.
And he may have felt the distress of his mom, and then knowing that his mom died afterwards, he's like, "Oh, that's what happened,"
Yep.
kind of thing. So that maybe this is sort of his, that started him thinking, "Oh, how am I going to address this?"
Yeah, I
And
have
this
to
might be
pay attention here and
his,
stuff like
but
that.
I think him letting go is like a key thing you're going to start seeing over and over again over the course of the series, and obviously it comes to a head in Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, of course.
Huh.
But that's really where this all kind of starts, and you get that sort of minor conspiracy amongst the Jedi. It's not really against Anakin; it's for his own benefit and stuff. And
But the fact that they're conspiring behind his back is...
yeah,
Yes.
Hey, this is the thing they do, and they do it a lot.
and they also get to see the retail caucus droids for the first time, which are those sort of big drum-shaped ones,
Yep.
or whatever,
Yep.
popped up out of the ground.
I love the twing, twing,
Yeah.
twing,
Which-
twing, boom.
They were based on an unused destroyer droid concept,
Oh.
so they've been around for a while.
Okay, that's cool.
It's just one of the ones you don't really hear about, the retail caucus.
Yeah.
The fearsome retail caucus, I mean, the Delta 7 Jedi Starfighter that we see in this episode, too, it's the 7B. They modify it slightly
Yep.
from the one from Attack of the Clones, because the droid socket was on the
Yep,
side.
Yep, and now it's in the
Now it's in the front,
Yep.
because now you can actually fit a full droid in there.
Yeah.
When I first saw, when Anakin, like... Spoiler alert. When...
Cover your ears, Bridget.
when the wing of his little speeder craft
Yeah.
got blown off, I was like, oh, R2 got shot. And then it turns and you see the empty pocket. I was like, oh. And I thought I just remembered things wrong. But thank you for clearing that up for me, because
Yeah.
that wasn't a distinction I had consciously picked up on. It was just like an instinctive, oh no, R2 got destroyed. No, wait, he didn't.
Yeah,
I like the distinction. Thank you.
the one from Attack of the Clones, it's a built-in astromech.
Yep.
Like, because
It's just got like a head, essentially.
Yeah, like R4 was a head. I forget. I'm trying to remember if he's still like this in the show or not, or if they upgraded them to a full droid or not. But
Well, that's a good question.
but they
actually.
originally had it off to the side because they thought they would block the cockpit. But they were like, oh, the Jedi don't need to really see everything in front of them too,
that's-
so they can get away with it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments in this episode is actually, and it was in the trailers and stuff too, but like when the clones get overrun. It's again going back to that whole zombie thing. Like all of a sudden the droid just coming, and
Yep.
you see the clones even just try punching a droid.
Yep.
Like sometimes it works, and sometimes like, oh my god,
my hands.
this was a bad idea, and then they get shot.
They had some shots in here. Like, you watch some guy just
Yeah.
take it in the helmet. Just, and he goes down, but you stare at it. And, I don't know, watching kids stuff later, and I'm just like, oh boy, what did I intake as a child?
But even
It's
with,
heavy.
with this, it's like, okay, you have the cartoon aspect of it, and it's like, it's very interesting to see that violence come at you, because, I mean, even in the earlier movies and Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and stuff like that with those, the violence isn't, like, insane. I mean, you get Jango Fett's head going off, in a shadow kind of thing, but
It's
Right.
not, this seems much more explicitly violent than
some of the movies.
Some of the movies.
Yeah.
But it's okay because it's a cartoon.
And it's
But
against clones.
it is big violence. It was just interesting to see this, what I took as like almost a disparity of.
But it's also definitely like war. Like this is showing war
Yes.
in that way.
It's not as clean as you think they would make it for a cartoon series.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The ATRT was there the smaller
Yep.
two-legged walkers they were driving.
I did mistake those for in the background as ATSTs at first.
Yeah, they're smaller versions of
Yeah.
that basically.
Yeah.
The AV-7 anti-vehicle cannons were the big things in this one. We have the Consular class cruiser, which is a Republic frigate. which was I think the same type that we had in Phantom Menace, I think, if I recall correctly. We have Jabba's sail barge gets shown real quickly.
yeah.
The Trident just comes and picks it all up. The Katana, it was called. They mentioned that Teth is in wild space. Kind of the first time that area of the galaxy was mentioned, like in a canon source. What do you think the fortune cookie should be for the episode? Because there wasn't one, because it's part of the movie.
That's true.
My first thought would be Anakin's line when they're hiding in the box. If you can't cross the enemy lines, let the enemy lines cross you. Something along that vein.
That's a pretty good one. That actually sounds like something they would actually use, I think. Yeah. I had thought about maybe something like teaching as a privilege or experience outranks stuff.
That could be too, yeah.
Because there's a little bit of that.
Yeah, experience.
Yeah.
Experience outranks.
Yeah.
Rank, but.
Yeah, I mean, there was something like that. And actually, I had that in my notes.
I win!
Okay, you win. Tell her what she's won, Johnny. Absolutely, Bupkis. We get to see the V-19 Starfighters debut also briefly in the I think in the newsreel footage at the beginning there. It was also cool too how they had that sort of comm chatter over the Lucasfilm logo and stuff instead of having the intro. That was nice. That made it a little creepier actually. Also, I noticed too the loathsome shield is almost like this almost gives us a reverse situation of what happened at the Battle of Naboo.
Yes.
In Phantom Menace, because before it's like instead of the Gungan cannon army under the shields that the cannons from the droids can't penetrate, now the droids underneath the shields that the Republic good guys can't penetrate. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. I also had to make a note of the the box tactic. I had to call it the Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
He was just like, did they just snake past the shield? And
Loathsome, his design is based on an abandoned Ammonian design. Filoni was amused by the visual of Yoda on a Star Destroyer.
Wait, where was the episode where both Mace Windu and Yoda were in the hologram? I have to point this out. Was this one?
It might have been this.
Probably.
It was this one because it had to be Mace Windu was here, yeah.
Mace Windu's up here and Yoda's head is here. Yoda's feet are here. They either literally raised his hologram up for framing or Yoda's just standing on like six
a couple
boxes.
milk crates kind of thing, yeah.
I would love to see
died.
I want to see if he pulled back and he literally is just floating.
Right.
Like, he's like, oh, where's the camera? All right, I got this.
They make very specific points later, like size is not everything. Size is everything you think.
Yeah.
But they went out of their way in this hologram only to raise him up like 3 feet, and I had such a fun time poking.
Well, you know, if you had holograms, that would be an option, though.
Yeah, but there's later
absolutely.
holograms where it's like,
where is it?
Mace
Okay,
Windu.
make me 7 feet tall. Greetings, puny mortals.
But there's
Bow before your god.
they
Hi,
have
Mom.
they have another holograms, but there's like another one where Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, Yoda, like he's just again on the floor.
He's like shit height.
They didn't care.
There's a clone in the
then.
background just playing with the settings.
Yeah, actually.
Ahsoka has a Taekwondo influence on her action style.
She was. I like the fact that she was first handing a lightsaber, and I only say this not that I didn't know she was doing it before because I'm not in a total bubble when it comes to this stuff, but seeing it is nice.
It was neat. It was
because that is the most effective way to wield a knife. But it was nice. I like the visual variety.
Anything else you want to touch in that trilogy?
It was pretty solid. I think the Asajj stuff is fantastic. I think her banter is great in general, just from that trilogy's perspective and what's coming forward. But like, she's great.
I'm very fond of her. She and Obi-Wan talk like they had a bad breakup, and watching it was wonderful.
Yeah,
it's great.
My dear Obi-Wan.
Yes. But it's full of so much sass, like, I actually hate your guts. I really enjoy her as a character.
I felt that Cat and Mouse, while a cool little prelude to it, felt like it wasn't necessarily maybe the best introduction, because it feels a little more disconnected in a way. I kind of feel like there should have been another episode that bridged that to the hidden enemy.
I wouldn't disagree with you. I think I have issues with the pacing, sort of, period.
Okay.
But I don't want to comment on it too hard or rip into it too deep, if only because I know we binged these. Yeah. Which definitely affects how I'm perceiving the pacing.
I mean, I will say I think it did. If we're looking at the first episode as the first episode that we're watching, it does feel like it just comes out of like nowhere. It's like,
it seems very quick.
Yeah, the official chronological order, they still have Cat and Mouse as the first one. Like there's another episode that we'll get to called Clone Cadets, which I think they have a little bit earlier. And actually, I think In theory, I probably would say that might even be a better introduction just because it's the start of the Clone Wars kind of
And
thing.
that I could see.
But
that
I didn't want
too.
to put that at the beginning because the official order didn't have it there, and I didn't want to move things around unless
Sure.
there was a legitimate plot or other reason to change things.
No,
so
that's fair.
it's as close as official as possible. I do think, though, it works better, like, taking these 3 episodes together as a trilogy than as separate individual pieces, because Hidden Enemy doesn't really, I think, work as well without having the new Padawan payoff, the droids attacking and
Yes.
the destruction of the Republic base.
Yeah.
Likewise, I think the new Padawan, it's meant to be that moment in the Star Wars movie where you just jump into the action, and that's fine. But I always felt a little disconnected from the rest of the film.
Yes.
And because it was never meant to be there.
Yeah.
And I think by disassociating and bringing it back into that similar shared setting, it helps kind of unify it a little bit more.
Agree with that.
And I think it makes things more like the build up to the introduction of Ahsoka instead of just throwing Ahsoka at you at the beginning. So I think that kind of helps, which is why I think it makes it an interesting part of experiencing it in this particular order.
I had this same problem with some of the Marvel movies, so people who like both of these, please don't hate me. You probably already do. I can't stand, or I couldn't in these episodes, stand Ahsoka and Anakin's bantering, because every line had to be a witty quip, and they were one-upping the other, and oh my gosh, just have a normal conversation like regular people.
Yeah, there
which
was
is-
a lot of that.
Which is definitely some of the problems I had with some of the Avengers movies, because everyone's just sassing each other in the Avengers. They're not actually saying anything constructive, just, oh, you did that, Snips. I did it better than you, Sky Guy. Like, just
Snips is being
everything is
snippy?
everything is painful.
You don't say.
I
Loathsome is a little wormy?
I would say that this
I'm gonna
was
shove you off the chair.
this was a specific thing between Anakin and Ahsoka more than
Yes.
any of the other
I
characters.
didn't quite get that with anything like Obi-Wan said to Anakin,
Yeah.
or anything anyone else said to Anakin. It was specifically between
Those
the two
two.
of them.
I think I think they toned that down. As
It seems like they did even
Yeah.
in the
That was another
viewing
thing
that
too.
we
Like
watched.
when Ahsoka's original introduction to the series was a little harsher because these personality quirks they wanted to assign to her, they really tripled
Yes.
down on them
Yeah.
Yes.
to introduce them.
And it was just really here, because in later episodes
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, now I can tolerate this now.
Yeah, I think they get a better job of balancing it eventually. But I think it's completely valid to have that reaction, because a lot of people had that reaction
Yeah.
like when it first aired.
I love the battle droids. They look like weird dogs. Battleground. And they have like the dumbest voices. I like it. If you want like my first initial reaction to Anakin, in terms of a story or in terms of a writer, Anakin does have a very classic hero archetype in the sense that he's kind of a douche. He's kind of a jerk. When Obi-Wan first assigns, he tricks Anakin into taking Ahsoka on. I like mature Obi-Wan or mature Anakin. I don't like his little tantrum throwing self. He's supposed to be all this skill. Like everyone's pumping him up to be this skill, and I'm like, all I see is a child with power. And I wanted to see where, okay, so show me how he's mature. Show me how he has all of this ability and power, because all I see right now is that his Padawan is more mature than he is. And right now I like I still think I like his Padawan more than him. The whole time, like, Anakin's like, oh, I want you to take a Padawan. I think you are ready for a Padawan. And Anakin's like, I'm good. Thanks. I'm good. I don't want it. No. And Obi-Wan's like, oh, I might be taking a new Padawan on. And he's just like, it kind of felt like he was trying to tell Anakin that he was taking on a stepchild, like he was getting remarried and taking on a stepchild. But then it was like, psych, I adopted a child in your name. It's yours now. And he was just like, what? There's a setup that's very similar in Naruto, where you reach a specific like level in the military where you're allowed to teach. And Anakin had the same reaction that like one of the top tier like ninja have, where he was like, I don't want a student. I'm not meant to teach. I'm doing me right now. I know what I'm doing, and me wants to drive this hole behind vehicle into where it needs to be because you guys told me not to. Obi-Wan's like, maybe you should learn some responsibility and have this pet child. And she's just so eager to learn. And he's like, why? This is the moment where I like that she kind of stepped up and was able to sass Anakin back into place. Where she was just like, I know what I'm doing. Maybe you should shut up and listen to your Padawan for a sec. Because I can prove myself. But, like, neither of them really wanted to be in this situation. Because I feel like she also thought that she was going to be with Obi-Wan. And Anakin and her were kind of just pushed together. And now they're working it out. But they're gelling really well. Like I said, later on in later episodes, I like her way more because she's way more mature. And she matures very quickly. And I don't know how she's doing that under his tutelage.
So she's finding success despite Anakin, is what you're saying?
Yes. It's like he causes issues, gets real reckless, and she's got to like tell him to take. It's like, yeah, she's got to tell him to take 25 steps back. We'll do the thing that you want to do. We just got to do it smart. It's like she enables his recklessness. But then he's really mean to her. Like sometimes she deserves it. She deserves to be scolded because she's still young. She's a Padawan, but he'll yell at her, like in the episode. I'm trying to remember if he yelled at her too much in the movie. He kind of did, but that was because they just first met, and she had to sass him back into place. But in the episode where she accidentally awakens the assassin robots, he like yells at her really mean, and I'm like, you don't need to do that. You're supposed to be a teacher. You're not teaching. You're being an asshole. Yeah, I was just like, wow, I really can't tolerate you right now. I would not personally be able to tolerate that. And I'm watching her, and I'm just like, throw hands, girl. Throw hands and kick their butt. To me, it's like, first deal with the issue, then reprimand. He was like, they were in the middle of trying to fight these things, and he was still trying to yell at her, and I'm just like, reprimand after you save your lives. You know?
Oh, okay.
I have the attention span of a
know.
goldfish.
You're a YouTube watcher. Not you. You're awesome, but her. Oh, she's one of the bad ones.
I'm
We
inherently
love you.
I'm inherently just Satan incarnate.
I know this.
I'm just trying not to add any burden to you because I know you can only stand us for so long. You love us, but in small doses.
I have green hair. It's a warning sign.
It's
Anyway.
It's like the Green Ranger. It's like, it's cool, but at the same time, it might be the bad guy.
And then as a gag, I actually just push you off the chair.
what?
Anyway.
Excuse me?
No, it's how we can close the episode.
This story arc I felt was a really great introduction to the entire series. This is actually the story arc I started our little ones watch. I have a 3-year-old, and she was all gung-ho about watching Star Wars, and so we sat her down and watched one of these episodes, and she didn't want to stop, and so we just kept going. The reason I feel like it's such a good introduction to this gives you an insight into the character development. It really shows you how powerful Anakin has become from when you see him in the movies. It shows you how he has that little twinge of anger and fearlessness, and it really shows you kind of that gleaming insight into how he's going to eventually turn into the most hated villain in the entire universe. It's really just a great insight into the characters and into their development and to where this whole entire series is going to take these characters before we get to the next movie. Something you can't get in an hour-and-a-half movie in the theater, right? This is something that portrays over hundreds of hours as we're watching it and as it develops, and then it bleeds into the books and it bleeds into the rest of the universe. It really allows people to make extra inferences into what these characters are and who they are and how they interact with everyone around them. The biggest takeaway I had when it comes to the first portion of the movie was how excited Obi-Wan was to have a Padawan. So we know that he kind of Qui-Gon passed the torch of Anakin from himself to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan was training Anakin. Now Anakin is a full-fledged Jedi Knight, and Anakin, who's very rebellious, very thick-headed, he does his own thing. He doesn't want to follow orders, and he definitely does not want a Padawan. He makes it abundantly clear throughout this 30-minute or so runtime that he is very much against having a Padawan. Luckily for us and our viewing pleasure, Master Yoda sees right through it. Obi-Wan who wants a Padawan. All he loves to teach, right? You see it from the very original trilogy when he picks on Luke and he says, "All right, Luke, you're my dude." And then you see him pick up the torch for Qui-Gon and start training Anakin. And now here he is. He finally got Anakin taken care of. He's ready to go. He's on his own. And now he's ready for a new Padawan. Master Yoda sends the messenger, who turns out to be the Padawan learner. And the key line to this entire piece, okay, the battles were cool. The lightsaber fights are always fun, right? It's a great episode. It's a great piece of artwork. But my favorite piece was when Anakin said to Ahsoka, "Let's go. You would never have made it as Obi-Wan's Padawan learner."
You seem to be very certain that Obi-Wan was legitimately looking for a Padawan as opposed to not being in on it with Yoda and just screwing with Anakin.
Maybe. I tend to take Obi-Wan at face value, so he is tricky though, so there's that.
How civilized of you. So if you're enjoying these episodes and would like to help out supporting this channel, be sure to like and subscribe this video because it'll help get this one circled around and help spread the word. I hope you guys have enjoyed our little chat here starting off this series. Until then, it's time to cut the chatter. So may the force be with you and take care. You can push me now.
What?
Push me.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Push what? I thought you meant like a microphone button. You didn't push me. What?
That idea you had that you mentioned like 5 freaking times.